What's up, YouTube? Tonight's video is my pickups video for the month of May 2015. I'll walk you through all the games I picked up over the last month. I've had a pretty good month overall. Main focus was trying to get some more of my Sega Saturn collection knocked out, and I made some pretty good progress. I got some rare titles for that this month, so I will walk you through those as well as everything else I got this month. We will start with Sega Systems this month, and I want to go over the biggest piece of my collecting this month to get this out of the way because it's huge. And that is, I don't even know if I can back up enough so you can see this, but Lethal Enforcers for the Sega CD. This is the big box version that comes with the light gun. And I'm not really a huge Lethal Enforcers fan. However, the reason I wanted this is because this comes with the Konami Stunner light gun. And that also is compatible with Snatcher, which is one of my absolute favorite games on the Sega CD. I have beaten Snatcher before, but I just used the controller for the light gun parts, so actually I would like to go back through and play it again. Now that I have the light gun, since that was kind of how some of the shooting scenes were intended to be played. So, very cool to get this. It is in top-notch condition, and I like adding big-ass boxes like this to my collection, so kind of cool to get this. Next, we'll move on to some Sega Genesis games. And I had another pretty good month for Sega Genesis. I wouldn't say it was as big as last month, but overall, did pretty good. First game I got is just an upgrade to a boxed copy. I had a loose one before. Still looking for a manual for this one. And that is Alicia Dragoon. This game has gone up in value a lot over the last year or so. So hopefully I can get this one completed before it gets too much stupider in price. But very happy to get this boxed. I think it's a cool looking box and pretty cool RPG for the system. Next one is another upgrade. I had a faded box before. The artwork was just completely sun-faded, and I upgraded to a nice copy of the box, and that is for Streets of Rage 3. Still need a manual for this one as well, but hopefully I'll be able to find that soon. The thing that stinks about this game is it was one of the later releases that came in the clamshell boxes, and they had already converted to black and white manuals. So the manual for this really looks pretty cheap, but whatever. I'd still like to have it, I guess, just to kind of finish it off. So, kind of the last hurrah of the clamshell cases before they went to the cardboard boxes in the late releases. So, next one I got is complete, and that is Flashback. I've never played any of these before. I mean, I know they were kind of revolutionary in their time. I don't really know if that many people play these anymore, but definitely like to give this a try. So, kind of need to get this. I think they're French-developed games, but yeah, revolutionary at once, but maybe not now. Next game is one that flew under the radar for me. I didn't really realize this is one that should be on my list, but I started seeing some other YouTube videos about it, and it actually sounded pretty cool, and that is Skeleton Crew. I got this one with the manual, but I don't have a box for this one, so this one is in very nice condition. I just need to find a box for it, and it'll be complete. So I understand this game is kind of difficult to pick up, so I guess I kind of lucked into finding one of these this month, but definitely happy to add this, and hopefully give it a try very soon. This next one, I didn't really know a whole lot about the game, but I thought the box was pretty awesome as far as artwork, and that is Wolfchild. I get this giant full box artwork on it, and I think they did a nice job on that, so definitely grabs your attention as you're going through a game shelf. Don't know if I should hold out for much quality in the game itself, but I wanted to get it just because I thought the box was cool. So. Next one is a Capcom classic arcade game. I do own the arcade board of this, so getting it on Genesis wasn't a top priority, but I ended up finding a cheap one this month, so I figured why not, and that is for Mercs, which is a very cool run and gun. I don't really think that many people talk about this game, but it is, of that era, I think it's one of Capcom's best games they made in the arcade at that time, so very cool game. Don't know exactly how the Genesis port holds up. I haven't really tried it out yet, but hopefully it's decent. I would think that Genesis should be able to handle this game pretty well. The next one is one of two Chester Cheetah licensed games, because we all need games about Cheeto characters, and that is Chester Cheetah in the Wild Wild Quest. I don't give a crap about Chester Cheetah. I actually just wanted this because it's a Kaneko game, and Kaneko made some pretty cool arcade games and stuff for the Sega Genesis, so maybe it's okay, I don't know, but yeah, I thought it'd be neat to pick up just because it's Kaneko, so. Next one is one that, actually I've never seen this movie, and that's kind of strange, because I like movies kind of this genre, but that is Predator 2, and I think as far as movie license games go, this one's considered to be a pretty good one, so hopefully this will be decent. I'll give this one a shot very soon. The last one I got for Sega Genesis is another upgrade, and this is a very hard game to find complete. I do like this game quite a bit, and that is Crossfire. It is also known, I think, as Super Airwolf, so if you played Airwolf on the NES, this is actually like a sequel to it, and I also believe this was an arcade game, but this, as far as I know, is the only game published in the US by Kyugo of America Incorporated, so very obscure publisher, and I guess they went out of business shortly after this, so if you're looking for a pretty obscure Genesis game, I'd say this one fits the bill. Okay, so that is all the Sega Genesis games I got this month. Next, we're going to move on to Sega Saturn, which, of course, is my main collecting goal right now. I believe with this stack of games, I'm at about 38, 39 games left to go for that collection, so I'm kind of knocking it out piece by piece. My average has probably been about 4 or 5 games a month, so this month I got a few more. So that's good. I get a pretty good notch out of that collection taken care of. So we'll go through the Saturn games next. First one I got is Corpse Killer Graveyard Edition, and I doubt this is very good. It is a light gun game, but it is one of those digital pictures games with the digitized graphics and lots of FMV and whatnot. Early release for the system, and I think this also came out on Sega CD, so I don't really have high hopes for this. It is a 2-disc game, which is kind of cool, but yeah, I'm sure it's just because it has a bunch of FMV in it, so moving on. This next one is one that is pretty easy to get for the PlayStation 1, but for some reason the Sega Saturn version of this is a nightmare to find. And this is one I had to end up buying online, because I've never actually seen this game in person. But that is Contra Legacy of War. And this was kind of the first of the crappy Contra games that weren't necessarily developed by Konami themselves. I believe Appaloosa developed these. Went 3D, just didn't really hold true to the Contra formula that had preceded it. And like I said, the Contra kind of went off the rails at this point. It wasn't until the PS2 that they started making some good Contra games again. The other thing that's very unique about this game, and the reason I held out for one that is complete, is because this game also came with 3D glasses. So it has a 3D mode, and it came with these camo Contra Legacy of War branded 3D glasses, which I thought was kind of a cool extra. But yeah, so as far as presentation, I like the artwork. I mean, it's just a shame that the game itself is not that hot. So very happy to get this off my list. This one has been a nightmare to find for a long time. This next one's another one that is very common on a lot of systems, but the Sega Saturn version, for some reason, just seems to have a pretty low print run. It's not a game I'm really a fan of. I've definitely played it in the arcades and wasn't really a big fan of it even back then. But that is Primal Rage. And I guess this was because it was kind of one of the last systems that got a port of this. It was a little bit tired at this point, so maybe not a lot of people bought this on the Sega Saturn, but this one was also quite difficult to find. This next one was a very early release for the Sega Saturn, and I got a very nice copy of this from the original owner. I believe this was, if not a launch title, within like the first couple months of the Sega Saturn being sold in the US. But that is Rayman, and this is where the series started. Rayman is still very popular today. A lot of games coming out on modern systems with Rayman in them, and I haven't played this one yet, but I tell you what, the graphics really look quite good on the box, so hopefully it'll be decent. I'll give it a shot very soon. This next one is another long-running series that I'm not a fan of. I've played other games in this series. Maybe the original one is good, I don't know. But that is Worms, and this one has also been kind of tough for me to find. A lot of these Sega Saturn games, if I am getting these now, these are ones that like I have seen for the first time ever in person. So some of the stuff just, it doesn't appear in my area at all, and it's getting very tough to get the last few games knocked out. So very happy to get this one as well. This next one is a re-release of another game I already own on the Saturn, and it's actually the same game, they just changed the title due to a lawsuit. But that is Blazing Heroes, and this game was formerly known as Mystaria. It is an early RPG for the system, and it has a little note on the back of the box. I don't know if you can read that, but it even warns you that this game was formerly known as Mystaria, so it's not a new game, and you don't want to buy it again, unless you're a crazy Sega Saturn collector like me and you've got to own everything. So I don't really know which one's considered rare. I guess Mystaria was pulled from shelves, but it had sold pretty well before they pulled it, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but the reason that they pulled it is because the game Myst was very popular at that time, and I think they sued because the title was very similar. So I don't really know what was going on with that, but either way, it's not that good a game, so not too worried about it. Next one is one of the many first-party Sega fighting games on the system, and that is Fighters Megamix. This one is a later release of the Sega games, and it actually mixes two of their universes, Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers, but also has some like wacky bonus characters. I think Pepsi Man appears in this, which is awesome. I love Pepsi Man, so hopefully I can unlock him if he's not one of the standard characters. But this one's supposed to be pretty good. I mean, I think Sega kind of had the fighting games on the Sega Saturn figured out by the time this one came out, so looking forward to giving this one a try. And I got one last game for Sega Saturn this month. Like I said, it was a good month for the Sega Saturn. This is another one I've heard good things about. I just haven't had a chance to try it out yet, and that is Mr. Bones. I believe this may have been American or European developed. I'm not sure. I don't think it was Sega Japan, but it is a first-party game, so looking forward to giving that one a shot. So overall, yeah, I was very, very pleased with the Sega Saturn collecting this month, and definitely a good month, and hopefully I can keep it up over the next few months. I got one game for the Sega Game Gear this month, and actually I've been putting off buying this several times. I've seen it in stores because I thought I already owned it. I turned out I'd never bought this one, but that is Shining Force for the Sega Game Gear. And if you've played Shining Force on the Sega CD, actually it is just a remake of two of the Shining Force Game Gear games. This is the only one we got in the US. But it and a sequel to this were the two games that they kind of remixed and then just re-released on the Sega CD. So I have actually played that one, and so I kind of know like what's going on with this one. But definitely a good game to add to the Game Gear library. There's not really a whole lot of RPGs, and I do like Shining Force games, so happy to pick that up. Next we'll go on to some Sony systems. So I'll cover my PS1 games I got this month first. Only got two. The first one of those is the original Grandia. I have not played this yet, but I have played Grandia 2 on Dreamcast quite a bit. I bought that when it first came out new, and I did enjoy that game. It wasn't as good as Skies of Arcadia, and I got them both about the same time, so it was kind of hard to keep my attention with Grandia 2. But I've heard this one's pretty good. I guess the better version of this was the Japanese Saturn version, but to play it in English, I mean, I'll take a graphical hit or whatever it is, just to play it on PS1. So looking forward to giving this one a shot. Hopefully it's pretty good. The Grandia series, they've had some other sequels on newer systems that I don't really know if it's that popular anymore, but yeah, this one's supposed to be pretty good. The other one I got for PS1 is one that I've played years ago, and I haven't played it since, but I picked it up just because I saw it very cheap this month, and I don't think you see this game very often, at least I don't. But that is Ghost in the Shell, and I have not watched the anime that this came from, but a lot of people are big fans of this, I think, and definitely happy to add it to the collection because the game itself is pretty cool. I have played the game, so need to get those. Next one I'll go over is the PS2, and I got a little stack of games for the PS2 this month, nothing too crazy. The first one is Sub Rebellion, and the reason I wanted this is because it's an IREM game. I do like weird IREM games, but I think this one's a little too simish, so I probably won't get into this one too much. Next one is Ring of Red, and I have not played this yet, but I've always been kind of fascinated by it. It just never really seemed to be a priority because I see this game pretty often. However, I am a big Front Mission fan, and if this is anything like Front Mission, I'm sure I'll probably like it quite a bit, so hopefully I'll give this one a shot. I do think it has pretty cool artwork too, so nice little bonus there. This next one is one that I've only seen a couple times in stores, but I'll get to one that's even more exciting than this in a moment. But that is Warship Gunner, or Naval Ops Warship Gunner, so it's the first in the Warship Gunner series. Again, it's a Koei game. I usually hate Koei games, but they didn't develop this, so that gives me a little bit of hope. So maybe I'll get into this. I don't know if I'll have time to try this out anytime soon, because it looks like it's pretty deep. But definitely need to get it, just because I don't see it much. However, the one I had never, ever seen in a store, and I didn't even know this existed until Crack Lotus featured this in one of his videos. This is a very, very rare sequel to that game, and that is Warship Gunner 2. I was very pumped to find this, because as soon as he mentioned that game, I said, wow, I mean, I have never even seen that game before. So this is a very cool addition to the collection, because I don't think they made very many of these at all. Next one is another kind of obscure game for PS2, and that is Victorious Boxers 2, Fighting Spirit 2, I guess? I don't know, that's weird how they got the logo there, but anyway, it's another in the long-running Hajime no Ippo anime boxing type games, and presentation looks pretty cool on this one. I popped it in for just a moment, so I don't know. I didn't really get into it too far, but hopefully I'll be able to play this a little bit more. They did come out with another game in this series for the Wii that is pretty obscure too, so I recommend picking that one up if you can find it. The last one I got for PS2 is 7 Samurai 20XX. Always wondered about this game. I've actually never seen 7 Samurai, but hopefully it's pretty good. I don't know, the graphics look like excellent on it, so I think this was a obscure developer called Dimps that developed this game, and I think it got pretty good reviews in Japan. I don't really know how well it sold here, so I don't know, hopefully give it a shot pretty soon. Next system I got a couple games for is the PSP. And this first one is one, again, that I had never seen in person in a store before, so I just instantly had to pick it up. But that is, and I don't know if I'm going to say this one right, but I think it's Hexy's Force, and by Atlas. So this, for some reason, seems to be the most obscure Atlas game on the PSP. I don't know, I don't see this game very often at all. And when I got it home, I kind of looked up what it was going for on eBay, and it's pretty expensive. So hopefully this one will continue to climb, because very happy to pick this one up, and it is complete. So very cool pickup there. The other one I got for PSP is another one that I didn't even know existed. This one I wasn't necessarily looking for, but I stumbled on it, and I figured I might as well get it because it had cool artwork on it. But that one is Spectral Souls, Resurrection of the Ethereal Empires, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. It's an NES game and it has cool artwork, so maybe this one will be good. Alright, so that does it for Sony systems. Next, I'm going to cover one PC Engine game I got this month. I did do a video on my PC Engine Japanese collection about a month ago, so if you haven't yet, take a moment, check that out. I do have a decent PC Engine game collection, but after doing that video, I started realizing some of the gaps in my collection that I probably should own. This game is mega hyped amongst Japanese game collectors, and I do love ninja action games, but I've played it before. My friend actually sold me this, and I don't know, I knew I wasn't really a big fan of it before when I tried his, but for some reason he decided to sell it, and I was just like, okay, I want to buy that, just because I feel like I need it. I like ninja action games. But that game is Kaze Kiri, and I can say that it does look very good. Maybe that's the reason that people get sold on this game, is just the graphics, but the gameplay is just so dull. Like, just straightforward left to right levels, no jumping, no multiple planes. It just is so minimal, and this game just gets hyped so crazily. So I guess it's cool to have it in my PC Engine collection, but it's not at all the best ninja action game on that system. No matter what people say, I don't care. The two ones that are better that instantly come to mind are a game called Iga Ninden Gao, which did not look as good as this game did, but the gameplay is much, much better. And even Ninja Spirit, which was a HuCard game, early release arcade-based game, much better than this, and more of a true ninja action game than this one is. This one is just basically a simple, I don't know, walk around and beat stuff up game with ninjas in it. So disappointing, really, but I guess cool to get it because, you know, whatever. Everyone considers a must on the PC Engine collection. So it kind of has me sparked on some other stuff I want to get on PC Engine, though, so hopefully I'll be buying some more games for that system, because this is probably the first game I bought on my PC Engine for at least a year now, so kind of neat to get this, I guess. Keeping with the import games, I got one more import game for the Famicom, and my friend Bob actually picked this up and knew I would want this, and he was right. But that is a obscure Hudson Soft game, and the way I've heard this game's title said is Bug TTE Honey. It is a very strange platformer-ish game that has Master Higgins of Adventure Island in it, but it is not a Adventure Island game in any means. It's a very, very, I don't know, trippy Famicom game. Just very, very strange. A lot of Famicom multi-carts have this game, so I'd played it before years ago on one of those. But definitely happy to get the original copy, and I mean, of course, the cartridge is pink because the game is so weird. It doesn't surprise me at all. So I like Hudson Soft games, and he knew I'd like this, and he definitely was right. So very cool to get that for my Famicom collection. Next, I'll go over some games for the NES, and I do have a complete NES collection. However, I got some upgrades this month, and a variation that I never owned before. So With variations on the NES, I'm very delicate about what I want in my collection. I'm not the type of person that's going to go for the 5-screw variations and crap like that. I mean, it's so stupid. It's the exact same game with the same artwork, and the back has different amount of screws on it. So no offense to you if you like collecting 5-screw variations, but I just think that's a complete waste of money. That being said, I do like label variations, and especially if they're completely different labels. Not necessarily something that's just, like a re-release with maybe a, I don't know, a bestseller logo or something like that. That's just silly. But if it has completely different label artwork, I want it. And this is one that, it's kind of weird. I had the rarer variant already, but I just happened to get the common one this month. So the game I'm talking about is The Untouchables, which is a crappy game by Ocean. But this is one that the label art is completely different than the original version of it. At least I think it's the original. I think this is the one that came second. But the one that I originally had was this one. So you can see it as blue versus the black with completely different characters. This one has the silhouettes of Untouchables. This one has characters from the movie, because there was a movie that came out about this time. So my thoughts were, Ocean decided to make an Untouchables game that necessarily wasn't tied to the movie. Then the movie came out, and they wanted to re-release it with the movie characters on it to hopefully sell a few more. Neither one of these sold that well, so I don't really think it worked out in the end, but very cool variant just because the label art is completely different. So happy to add something like this to the collection. I did get one other thing for the NES this month, and this was one that I had loose and kind of in rough shape for a long time, and I happened to find a complete copy of this in a store this month, and it was something that I had just never ever seen complete. I think people are really coming around on this game, that this is one of the rarest games on the NES. It's not the Little Samson and Panic Restaurant and whatnot that everyone kind of knows is super rare. This is one of those ones that's flown under the radar for a while, and people are starting to pick up on that. So the game I'm talking about, I'll show you the game first, but that is Swordmaster, and this was published by Activision. It is not a US developed game. It was a Japanese developed game developed by Athena. It is very, very challenging. It's actually quite a bit of fun. I was playing this for a while this month. And you attack, but it's also so much about how you defend attacks too. It is just a side-scrolling action game, but very creative, I guess, in the defense mechanism that is very important to surviving in this game. Extremely challenging game. I mean, I didn't make it very far in it, even though I played it for a while. But like I said, this is a cart upgrade for me for sure. The label is very nice on this one. But what really sold me on this wasn't just the cartridge, it was that it was complete. And I can tell you, I do not see this game complete, like hardly ever, even online. So very happy to have this complete. Manual is here, it's in pretty good shape. And the box is a little bit worn, but in this case I didn't care. I mean, when am I going to see it again? It's kind of how I looked at it. So very cool to get this. Box art is a little different because it's got a lot of screenshots on it, more so than a usual NES game. So very happy to add this to the collection. Very cool find. So next, I'll go over a couple games I got for the Nintendo GameCube. And one of these is super overdue. I should have owned this game a long time ago. But that is Luigi's Mansion. And basically was just waiting to get this at a good price and happened to find a complete one this month. So definitely nice to add this to the collection. I think it's a neat game. When the GameCube came out, I had the choice of buying this or Super Monkey Ball with it. I bought one on launch day. And I think I made the right choice because I fell in love with Super Monkey Ball. However, a lot of people I know that did buy it on launch day bought this game instead. And they swear by this game. So looking forward to giving this a proper playthrough. It's way overdue. The other one I got for GameCube is another one that I probably should have owned. I think I own just about every Zelda version on the GameCube, but I never bought Four Swords. So I got a copy of Zelda Four Swords this month, which is cool. It is the stupid player's choice version, so I'll kind of consider this a placeholder because I don't normally ever buy those. I hate that yellow stripe. I think it's so ugly. But I'll deal with it for now because this is a game I never could find cheap until now. So very cool to get this. I have this on the Game Boy Advance, and I think there's some like link cable action you can do some stuff with. I don't know if it's something I'll pursue, but I do at least, I guess, have the capability to try out both games and see how they link up and all that. So hopefully play this one pretty soon. Next, I'll go over a couple portable NES or portable Nintendo games I got this month. This first one is one that is very, very tough to find for the original Game Boy. It came out on a lot of systems, but the Game Boy version, for some reason, is very, very rare. And that is Battletoads and Double Dragon. So, not really great. I love Battletoads games, I love Double Dragon games, but they put them together and it's kind of just a whatever game. It's not that great. So, very cool to have it, though, because this game does not appear often on the Game Boy. So, very cool. Next, I got 2 complete games on the Game Boy. First one of these is Monopoly, and I believe this is the same version of this game as I had on NES as a kid. I played it all the time, and actually, I mean, it was a game that I would play with my mom and other friends just because we didn't have to take out the Monopoly board anymore, and it was actually a really fun, like, video Monopoly. I don't know if any of those hold up today, but this one was great because it was very easy to pick up and play. So, actually, I think this would be a pretty neat portable game to play on a trip, so maybe I'll get into this again. I don't know, but if it's the same game, which I'm pretty sure it is actually pretty fun. So nice to have that. And then the last one I got for original Game Boy is Paperboy, and I always liked Paperboys, but I don't know how well the Game Boy version holds up. Hopefully, it's not chopped down too much. So nice to have that complete as well. The last thing I picked up, or well, second to last thing I picked up this month was some Game Boy Advance games, and I also just did a video on my Game Boy Advance collection, so if you haven't yet, you should check that out as soon as you're done watching this video. But these games were featured in there, so if you have seen that, these are going to be repeats for you, but they were some nice additions to my Game Boy Advance library. The first thing I got is Zelda 1 and 2 of the NES Classics series. I kind of bagged on the NES Classics series because it was not really a good use of the cartridge space. They could have easily put these games together and many, many more rather than sell them all individually. But these are nice to have complete. They have cool boxes that, you know, reflect on the originals. So very nice to have those. I like Zelda games. What I was more interested in was this one, and that is the original Castlevania, which I am a big fan of this game. So nice to have this. I wish they would have put out some of the Castlevania sequels, or at least made a bundle pack that had all 3 of them in it, but oh well, I guess, I mean, I got these cheap enough now and I'm not going to worry about it too much. The last one I got for Game Boy Advance is Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and this one is one of my favorites from the Super Nintendo. I think they gave it a kind of a mild reshake on the Game Boy Advance, and I think this would be a good game on the go. So, very happy to have this, and it is an extremely challenging game that I can sink some time into. The last thing I got this month is just a manual and a box, but both of these were welcome additions to my Super Nintendo collection. And believe it or not, I didn't buy any Super Nintendo games this month, which is very strange. But I got a manual for Turtles in Time, and this is the original pressing of it with the full color manual, so very happy to have this. I had this game as a kid, and I just went through this phase that, like, Turtles weren't cool anymore, and I dumped all my Turtles games, which was stupid, but nice to have it back now. I have the game. I just I don't have a box for this yet, so I'd like to have this complete. But a nice start to that, at least getting the original and not the crappy Majesco re-release. The other thing I got for Super Nintendo is a box that now makes this a complete copy. I already had the manual and the cartridge for it, and that is for Skyblazer. And this is a highly, highly underrated game for the Super Nintendo that I really enjoy. So highly recommend you check this game out if you haven't played this before, but it is very fun, and definitely a nice box to add to the collection. I think it's pretty cool looking. So that about does it for the month of May, and please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. What did you guys get this month? You can link me to your pickups videos, and I'll take a look at those. As always, have a great day or night wherever you are, and I will talk to you soon.